Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG Spring Arena number 2, and we come to what could be the most exciting match of this particular evening. My name is Total Biscuit, joined by the ever-illustrious and most handsome Wolf.
Thank you for those compliments. I really appreciate them. Yeah, this is going to be potentially the best match of the night.
Oh my God.
We've talked about this. We talked about this on the pregame show quite heavily. This match may happen. If it does, it's going to be awesome. And, well, here we go. It's Dongraegu against Polt in the upper bracket on the first night. These two players very, very heavily favored to you know, some people think these players are going to take the whole thing.
Yep.
Dongraegu is showing great play in the past, taking out Marine King at the last event. Polt being able to go toe-and-toe with Stefano, looking very, very strong in international events. One of these players may take the whole thing.
They very well could, honestly. They're going to be running up against a little bit of a problem in the next round. Whoever manages to get through is going to end up facing Symbol, who is going monster mode. And you guys scared me for a little bit there, man. You really did, honestly. Losing to Soke, no, indeed not. He continues in the winner bracket, and here we go. We can talk a little bit more about that momentarily. It's my pleasure to bring you the one and only MVP's Dongraegu. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Zerg to the southwest of the Cloud Kingdom versus his opponent. It is TSL Polt in the blue trunks playing Terran to the northeast.
Yep. And this map is going to be awesome to watch. I cannot wait. Polt is a player who has shown phenomenal control in the past.
Oh yeah.
Not only control, but he's a scary guy. You don't know. Polt's like, he's a player who will never be considered all in or cheesy like some other players have been considered in the past. Like, I don't know, for example, Artosis in the past had actually joked that the Polt was a cheesy player. He didn't know how to play a long game. But actually, he mostly plays long games now. But every now and then, he will throw in an all-in. So you have to be careful about that. It's really stressful to play against Polt. Dongraegu is the same way, though. Dongraegu will throw in all-ins just as often.
And that, I think, is the mark of a truly great player, honestly. There's this attitude that cheese and all-in is bad. It clearly isn't. It comes down to your mindset and the competitive mindset, being willing to do whatever you think will actually win you the game.
What wins, wins, man.
Exactly. A win is a win.
That is the best way to put it, I feel. Let's see what Polt's going to do here. Looks like, so far, it's going to be a one-Raxus, man. No gas taken from him here. And this is the standard norm right now. People figured out, okay, Reactor Hellions are really good. People are doing Reactor Hellion spans always in Korea. Now it's the one Rax expand into Reactor Hellions is the norm, because people figured out that you can still put pressure on with Hellions even after, if you do it later, after you put your command center down. We are going to see a drone sneak into Polt's main. No denial here. And so he's going to come in and actually find no gases. That's going to be really good information for Dongraegu to get. Sending a drone out is always a gamble. If your opponent does do that early wall, you lose a lot of mining time with that drone. But in this case, gets in, sees everything. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, he's going to hang around for a little while. He could delay another supply depot coming down there. Just get as much information as possible. It looks like he's going to jump his way into the extractor. Always nice. Takes bloody ages to bring that down. You need 3 Marines to do enough damage to actually kill a building extractor. So you can maintain that almost indefinitely. It doesn't take so much APM either. And in the meantime, you see that hatchery coming up behind it.
The hatchery is finishing up here. Gas finishing as well for Dongraegu. Meanwhile, Polt has not yet, I mean, he can't take double gas like he would normally want to, but he's going to have to get those Marines up before he can even kill this extractor. And he doesn't want to show what he's doing, because if he makes one gas, then the drone's going to see it. So he's going to have to wait a little bit longer here. This may prompt him to do a fast third command center build. That's something that we've seen him do in the past. Looks like he's actually just going to show it, though, putting the gas down. The extractor actually finishes here, so that's going to be very, very annoying to deal with. So, of course, I wanted to mention that Dongraegu is on the team MVP, not Complexity. There was a graphic mistake for that earlier, so I'm sure most people know that, but I just wanted to give that clarification out there for those who saw that earlier and might have been confused.
Heard it here first, guys, right here on MLG Spring Arena. He moves teams and then instantly moved back. He just wasn't quite feeling it.
Yeah, he's like a bungee jumper or something.
Indeed, I'd be quite surprised considering, have you seen the new Complexity house? That is a plush place, good lord.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Oh yeah.
Well, Dongraegu is actually skipped out on the gases here. Looks like he's going to be going for a fast third. We'll be doing the 4-Queen build, which is exceptionally good with the new patch.
Oh, good God. It's terrifying.
You could basically just spread your creep out no matter what. You can force it out there. Do you see Polt getting his factory up? He's going to be putting the reactor down soon as well. And there's the fast third command center. This is something that is just going more and more popular right now, and it's my favorite build to see right now in TVZ, in fact, because there's so many different options with this. You can get the Banshees to follow it up. You can get Siege Tanks. And as long as you're safe about it, it's hard for a Zerg to punish that fast third command center.
Yeah, and Polt's always safe. If there's anything I've noticed from Polt's TVZ play, his positioning of every single engagement is absolutely phenomenal. He plays very efficiently versus Zerg. He always gets his Marines in the optimum position to make sure minimal surface area is in effect for Zerglings. And that comes in on the defense as well as the attack. It gives him a really nice, safe cushion to build that third under.
Yeah, you're right. And this third is basically going to be to build his SCV count and to get extra mules. He's not going to be able to lift that and put it at his third base for quite some time. Not until he controls the map a little bit better, at least. That tech lab is going down on his barracks. No starport, which indicates that probably that's just going to be for stim research. And again, on the production tab, you guys can see double engineering bays going down for Polt, which of course indicates he's going towards that bio play. This is something that Polt basically always does. He's very trademarked. Everyone talks about Polt as the guy who always goes bio, hardly ever mechs. Like, you just never see him make more than 2 factories ever in a game. You can see the creep spread starting to go down here for Dongraegu in 2 directions. That's what you can do when you have these 4 queens. Very easily spread that creep multiple directions. Even if your opponent has Hellions out, it's very easy to deny them, especially with that new queen attack. I mean, even before with 4 queens, it was decently easy to deny, but now it's like so easy.
Yeah, he even adds on an extra queen then, realizing just how absolutely fantastic that is. And these Hellions are absolutely worthless at this stage. You get so many creep tumors down, not even enough DPS on those Hellions to actually bring all the tumors down before they complete. He could do a positional trick to grab these 2, which he almost thought like he was going to do.
Yeah, it was. He definitely considered it for sure. +1 Carapace now coming out for Dongraegu. Probably will start +1 melee as well as soon as his second Evo does finish. He's making 8 drones right now, and his creep is continuing to spread like mad. I actually just recently watched Dongraegu play a Code A match against an opponent who did not put Hellions out at all, and within like 10 minutes he was already more than halfway across the map. He's already spreading his creep so well here. Dongraegu, when given no Hellions to stop him from spreading creep, is out of control. Making 3 spores right now, very safe choice to make against Polt, one who really does like to follow things up with Banshees, and even if he doesn't make Banshees, having the spores just makes you feel a little bit safer, can help against drops later on. And Polt's going to commit to his Hellions running up here. There's actually no one to stop him right now, so he's actually going to get a ton of drones.
Really nice decision there by Polt, honestly. Getting a good roasting on there. Nice angle on the attack once again. Dongraegu not splitting quite well enough for that. 11 workers killed and gets out of there with bare minimal damage. And I guess he really had to do that.
Yeah.
His creep denial just was not working. He had to do something with the Hellions.
That's absolutely right, man. At this point, he's like, well, I made all these Hellions. I might as well try to do this, and I see you're not here. My Hellions are worthless anyways, so they can either be worthless on a watchtower or I can try to kill your drones and it might just work. In this case, he got the best of both worlds. He kept most of his Hellions alive and killed a bunch of drones. Great decision by Polt. You know, a risky one, but one that I think anyone in his position would have wanted to take. Right now, Polt back in his main base has gone up to just 4 barracks. He's adding double reactors, though. He's going to have 3 reactors producing Marines. That's a ton of Marine production. His starport is finishing his reactor. He's already got siege tanks on the way. He's building towards that composition, that bread and butter TVZ composition. Meanwhile, Dongraegu, even though he lost those drones, his creep spread is continuing quite well, as you mentioned. That's something that Polt is really going to struggle to deal with through the mid-game. The question is, when will Dongraegu take the 4th? He's getting his infestation pit right now, getting Overlord drops as well. The Overlord drop's a really interesting choice. I wonder what he's going to do with that.
Well, I mean, there's always the possibility of Infestor Harass with that. That would be a really nice thing to do, good option for him. But I'm intrigued, honestly. He does have a few Banelings as well. It depends, does he decide to go for more Banelings? Does he go for Baneling drop, which is, if I'm totally honest, a little bit gimmicky at the moment. But with a combination of with Infestors, it can work. And have a look and see what DRG's actually doing from inside his brain using our patented Dongraegu Mind Probe technology. And he's going for the surround right there. And we can even read his emotions there. He is smiling in his mind's eye as he roasts those Hellions that did so much damage to him earlier.
Notice something interesting to note is you can he consistently checks the positioning, or rather the like how far along his research is. Did you notice him actually check that several times? So he's very keen to know exactly how far along his research is going. And just look at how fast this guy is. Look at how much he's able to do just very quickly here. It's actually amazing to watch how fast this man is. Killing the rocks, moving around his micro against the Hellions. So great play from this guy. Look at his cloning on those Overlords, spraying them in different directions very, very quickly, making sure they all spread out. This is something not even enough Zergs are doing right now, adding additional spines. This is actually normal speed, by the way, that we're watching this. This is actually how fast Dongraegu is as a human.
Exactly. If you can call him a human, which I think is a little bit of a stretch at this stage. Seeing that creep spread, absolutely absurd. Already over halfway across the map, and this is giving him a hell of a lot of opportunities, and Polt is forced to play completely passively as a direct result, and one of Polt's biggest edges, this positional play that he's well known for, he has less options now as a result of this ridiculous creep spread. There are very few areas he can go which will allow him to get in those solid positions.
Yeah, it's the thing is, right now it's kind of like a slippery slope, because Polt, yeah, he's got that third base secured, and as a Terran, oftentimes that's all you need. You get that maxed out army, then you start taking fourth bases as you trade with Zerg armies. But Dongraegu is not the type of player I would want to play that type of style against, because look at his creep spread already. He's going to have his creep spread into where Polt wants to take a fourth base very soon. I mean, that is something you never want to deal with. Dongraegu's got the Ultralisk Cavern coming up here. He's got Adrenal Glands. He's got 2-2 finishing up here. He's already built a healthy Infestor count. He's about to have 7, with the 7th one about to pop here. And Polt, I think, is almost playing a little bit too passively right now.
He really is. Unusually so, actually,
yeah,
in this matchup.
very much so. I mean, he's not known for his passivity. He's not really doing drops here. He's getting his upgrades going. He's got his production great. His macro is good. But his passivity here allows Dongraegu to just do so much.
And that's not the kind of thing you want to be doing against a player of Dongraegu's caliber. He decided, you know what, my creep spread isn't quite good enough. I'm going to just augment it a little more with the use of these Overlords. Creep's already all over the place. Sensor Tower deployed to allow for that positional kind of defense. But where does Polt actually go from here?
Yeah.
Is there even a kind of timing that he can hit? He's working on +3/+3. He's building a hell of a lot of tanks, which I do definitely like.
Yeah, his tank production is actually decent here. Looks like he is finally going to do a drop, but how effective will that actually be? He needs to take a fourth base. The creep is spreading into his normal fourth base location. We're going to have Dongraegu attacking here.
Oh, nice.
This is going to be pretty cost efficient as he takes out several of the siege tanks, keeps the majority of his infestors alive. Oh, sick block there. He almost lost an infestor. Used a defensive fungal to save it.
That was
Looking
really,
so good,
really
man.
lovely engagement there by Dongraegu, honestly. And this drop is going to come along. It's already got a Force of Links ready to intercept. Bailey's going from the side. Polt not even able to micro against that. Absolutely crushes that drop with great vengeance. And he's even going to pick up the Medivacs as well. This is unbelievably one-sided thus far.
Yeah. Polt pre-spreading his units on the top of the ramp here, preparing for an attack. He knows Dongraegu can see him. He's on the creep. The all-seeing eye of the creep knows where Polt is. Look at Polt's supply. He's not able to make a dent in Dongraegu's while he's trying to struggle here. And a huge flank coming through from Dongraegu, attacking with the Ultras on one side. The Banelings, which don't have speed just yet.
This is nasty to watch, man. It's an absolutely devastating play right here from Dongraegu as he smashes through the defensive line. The trademark positional player, Polt, not really helping him so much.
Imagine if he had Baneling speed during that fight, how much
Yeah,
better
he's
that
got
would
it
have
now,
been gone.
man. Not that it really matters. He absolutely destroys the front line of Polt there. And yeah, DRG loses a lot, but he's almost maxed out again. His economy's absurd. And I love that fourth base. It looks forlorn. That has a sad face on it right now. It can't even deploy.
Cannot do anything. He's desperately trying to kill this creep, but it's going to be a long time before that recedes. Polt needs to take the base on the right side of the map, but that's too far away. It's not a position he can afford to hold right now while being aggressive. Oh, all of his units are going to get trapped here as well. He does not have enough medevacs to save them all. He'll try to do what he can, but Dongraegu he's just too much. He's got so many Zerglings. He's coming through now.
Why not? Might as well go for the sledgehammer approach. Dongraegu has got the economy to inefficiently trade here. Polt certainly cannot afford it without his fourth. And the Ultralists smash their way in. Nice hold there by Polt, but needs a fungal growth for his trouble. And Dongraegu will be maxed out again momentarily.
Yeah, he's just sending torrent after torrent of Zerglings through here. He's got about 80, 90 Zerglings out right now. He's making a Spire, getting additional spine crawlers here. He's probably going to start going towards that Greater Spire tech, I would assume, at this point, because why not? He's just got every advantage. Polt can never move out without him knowing about it. Yeah, Polt's got one sensor tower, but Dongraegu has creep from one side of the map to the other. There's literally no way for Polt to cross the map without him knowing about it. Polt's doing a great job of cleaning up the creep as best as he can, but it's just not enough. He still doesn't even have a fourth mining base right now. Look at his minerals compared to Dongraegu. Dongraegu is keeping his minerals low, but he's just traded so well.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have to trade well. He doesn't have to trade efficiently, but he's doing it anyway. That's a beautiful flank right there. Smashes his way through. Fungal nails it in the center, overrunning Polt's position once again.
Yep, this is an impossible position for Polt. He cannot land his command center. He's going to continue to attack in here. I'm not sure if I like that. I just like the idea of denying this command center further. Remaxing. Polt does have +3 for his siege tanks finishing up right now, which makes his siege tanks a little bit more dangerous. But his siege tank count right now is only at 3. He's not really able to build that tank count because Dongraegu keeps attacking and trading and taking those tanks out. The Ultras remain alive in most cases. Now, finally, Polt is saying, I got to take this base at the bottom right, but if it gets spotted and the creep is already spreading towards that direction, if it gets spotted, Dongraegu will kill it in seconds.
Without question, and it's fortunate for Polt that that's not going to be happening just yet. He's heading up to the top now. The creep has finally receded, but here is the welcoming committee, and instantly it has to be lifted up again. That is the most annoyed command center in the history of StarCraft 2.
Yeah. Look at the resources at the top right. Polt not able to compete with the resources of Dongraegu. Finally going to drop all of his mules. I believe that was a total of 9 mules dropped just there.
That
9 mules. That is what Polt has been waiting for. He's going to build up a ton of resources quickly, but meanwhile his reinforcements are getting caught at the natural. A great attack from Dongraegu. He's finding all the openings. He has such great map vision right now, such great map awareness. Knows exactly where to hit Polt where it hurts.
This is extremely uncharacteristic from Polt, I've got to say. The amount of times he's been caught with his pants down, with his tanks on siege, this is not the Polt that I'm used to seeing in his series against Stefano. That never happens. Now that 5th has been picked up nice and easily there by Dongraegu, who even brings it. There's a queen on the right-hand side of the map. Why is it even there?
Well, it's because he's got the APM to do it, and Polt cannot move out. Polt is consistently almost maxed, but his army size is just not the right army. It's just not the right army. The Fungals are just too good. The Ultralisk count is high enough to where he can never really get into a position where he feels comfortable. There are enough Infestors in the mix as well. Look at this. Even the Corruptors now taking out the dropships, and Polt forced to retreat. He is on the back foot here as more and more Banelings. They're not even trading cost efficiently, but he has the money to do it.
Why would he have to? You know, he's got such a trust fund here just to throw away. He has map control. Polt's at least managed to hold on to his 4th there, thanks to the planetary.
Yeah, that is what's impressive here about Polt's play. I mean, we're saying that it's uncharacteristic passive play from him, but his passive play is paying off. He's getting building armor right now, which is going to help him hold on a little bit longer.
Yep.
He's been able to keep himself max versus max, despite the fact that Dongraegu's had a better economy. And look at his creep spread. Dongraegu attacking in here yet again as the Greater Spire finishes up, as you guys can see there on our picture-in-picture. The Greater Spire is going to finish up. Now he's going to start getting the Broodlords, and that's going to be the game ender. It's the ace in the hole, like the... I don't know what else to call it, man. It's like sinking the 8 ball.
Man. Yeah, it is the doomsday weapon of Dongraegu. There's no real answer to that at the moment. No Vikings, needless to say. Infestors are on the ground, so you're not going to be getting under them anytime soon either. And at the moment, Polt's just trying to hold on as best he can. And all credit to him, he's been bleeding Dongraegu out quite a bit, and he's not remaxing quite as fast. The command center, it's given up, honestly. It wants to be a general store. It's going to sell you soda because it can't mine.
It can't do anything, man. Polt is desperate at this point. Dongraegu has lost so many resources and his units, 2,000 more than Polt, but it just doesn't matter because of his economy, his creep spread. Now the Broodlords are in great position. Dongraegu is attacking from all sides, basically. Spine's buying time, Infestor's buying time. He's got so many Zerlings out here. Polt takes a supply lead, but that's not going to matter too much. I mean, he needs to win one of these engagements really, really crucially, but even if he's under the Broodlords, there's just so many units there to greet him.
Oh, no, not more undeployed tanks. And, of course, he had to do that because of the number of Banelings that were there. And
Dongraegu asked him to attack under those Broodlords. He was ready.
Yeah, he loved it. He loses a couple, doesn't really mind so much as now the entire army of Polt gets utterly obliterated. He's managed to keep pace with them for the past 5 or so minutes, but things are getting really stressful now for Polt. A lot of medevacs that aren't really doing an awful lot. No, finally now we're seeing Vikings of Thor, which, as we're well aware, doesn't usually do a lot against Broodlords. It does have +3, which will give it a bit of an edge, but I don't expect it to live too long.
Yeah, this is the situation that Polt finds himself in is an unfortunate one. He never has the ability to move out. You know that creep advantage that happens as a defender as Zerg is now happening as the aggressor for Dongraegu because his creep is spread so far out here. He has no means of defense here. He's got more medevacs than he has Marines half the time when he's fighting because the Marines die so quickly to the Banelings. These SCVs are trying to mine at a command center that hasn't even landed, that can't land because of creep spread.
Just, this should not happen. This is not a usual situation to be in, and Polt is getting manhandled right here by Dongraegu.
Dongraegu has built the perfect composition.
Oh, yeah.
And he is using it. Polt has even been ahead in supply several times towards the later stage of this game, but he just does not have the right composition. The bungles are too good. The Ultralisk count is not too high. It's not too low. It's the perfect support unit for his army right now. And now Polt's that's the end.
That's
GG.
it. GG, ladies and gentlemen. And a dominant performance there by Dongraegu. No one's going to argue about whose game that was.
Yeah, no one will argue. Great control, great creep spread. Just looking so dominant. Apollo, what are your thoughts on this match?
Well, that was, an incredible play there by Dongraegu, of course, but I don't think, the focus, of course, is Dongraegu's incredible speed, incredible play, but at the same time is that I think Polt played almost as good as Dongraegu did.
Yeah.
But it was just a little bit ahead. Dongraegu was just a little bit ahead at like every corner.
Yeah, and we saw, you mentioned several times that, of course, he was really good with that creep spread, but he also kept ahead on actually taking huge advantage of that. Every time that Polt wandered off just a little too far with too many units, Dongraegu was there to cut off his attack immediately. And Polt was making good decisions, but DRG just stayed one step ahead.
Yeah, he's just so fast. He can do so much. And I think the difference between these two guys compared to any other Terran versus Zerg we've ever seen is just that creep spread. It's just it just never stops. And that actually prevents Polt from mining. Imagine, Wolf, right? Take the time to imagine if Polt would have had a fourth base sooner or would have even established a fifth base.
Yeah, consider as well, Polt kept himself maxed. He was able to fight well. The thing is, when you fight max out versus max out, it comes down to micro, it comes down to positioning, concaves, and things like that, good fungals. If you're always fighting on creep, a Terran will, most of the time, lose the battle, especially against a good player like Dongraegu. Then because his creep spread was so good, the engagements always went in his favor. Like you said, every time he moved off just a little bit, Dongraegu was there. And that was the main issue for him. He couldn't take a fourth base, but everything else he did was perfect. But it was like he was playing with one hand or something. He just had this huge handicap where his opponent had basically map hacks and speed boost upgrades all over the map.
That's exactly what that creep advantage gave him. And what do you really do in that situation? He wasn't able to clear it up. Notice the number of scans he was having to throw down, which even then, you're fighting from behind, you're one base below, maybe even two, and then you're having to scan. Really, in that situation, you might want to pop a Raven out, but if you're playing a game so close, you just can't afford that gas one way or the other. You need the tanks to even hold your line against the rampaging Ultralisks and Ling run-bys that are coming at you every 30 seconds.
Yeah, we saw things where DRG also had like 16 to 20 creep tumors building at a time while still staying on top of his macro. Also, in the end of that game, I think that Polt had just about the most favorable possible fight that he could have had. But DRG just baited him into getting those infantry out of position and sealed the deal.
Polt even took a supply lead there. It's not just the queens and creep spread either. It's the way that he expands as well. Like he just does everything. He's still like running in units all the time. He's not missing any lava injects. He's expanding. He's creep spreading. He just does everything. And Polt has to be thinking, I played like so good. That's actually how I beat Zerg players. But if that doesn't work, then what the hell do I do in game number two?
He played like basically so perfectly. His macro was great. His engagements were good. His splitting was decent. But Dongraegu, he never overmade drones.
Nope.
It was just, like you said, I think, Apollo, you actually said it best when you said Dongraegu and Polt played almost the same level of skill, but Dongraegu was always a step ahead. He had that huge creep advantage. And like I said, man, I felt like Polt was like playing with one hand. He had just had all these huge handicaps against him.
Yeah, he did not play badly under any definition of that word, and people can blow the hyperbole out as much as they damn well please and say, well, he wasn't in comparison, but he really, really was. It's just, what can you do in that situation? There's so little you can. All you've got to do is try and bleed him out on your defenses and then get that one moment where you can take the decisive engagement, but he never managed to pull it off. And as Rob accurately pointed out, even the best engagement you possibly could have done, DRG was ready with a trap, and once that was sprung, that was it.
Well, guys, we are going to jump into Tall Dream Altar Game 2. We'll find out if Polt can tie up the series or if Dongraegu is going to take him out 2-0 here. Looked great in the first game. We have another big map here. I cannot wait to see how well Dongraegu can spread his creep here.
Oh, absolutely. And